Hey, there's no shame in trying things that people ain't never tried before.
You like that misleading title? I sure do. You should be yourself. Boys, being yourself is a powerful action. It's getting in your robot and killing the extra-dimensional horrors. But a few things to consider. One, namely, you probably have no self to be right now. Or if you do, it might be underdeveloped. Or if you do and it is well developed, well, hibbity-jibbity, we got another section for you later, boys, but let's deal with this one right now. People so readily tell you, just be yourself. Be true to yourself and everything will be okay. But without a self to be, you're dead in the water. And when you try to fight those extra-dimensional horrors of being alive, they'll smear you across the ground. You have no defense, you have no weapons. So, what is a self? Well, gee meanie. Academia sure has a lot of things to say about identity and self, and they're very particular in binding. But here, for our purposes, don't get too wrapped up in the words. Boys, self is just your talents cultivated and your beliefs refined, both tested against experience. I like viewing it as a mech. Boys, you build it up, you stomp it around to get you from point A to point B, it keeps you safe. You can paint it black and red and put a skull on the front, and put flames along the feet to make it faster, and put glowy bits all over it, and when you're still dissatisfied you can give it a scythe and call it Wraith X _ X for Rex. So, how do you produce Wraith X the Rex yourself? Well, by activity, not passivity. By production, not consumption. If you consume Stefan Molyneux videos all day, Alan Watts videos all day, Jordan Peterson videos all day, anyone's videos all day, or only read anyone's books, only consume, you're prepared for nothing. That is a way to get by, but it's not you. You're a them subsidiary. You're a nester. Boys, your success is their triumph, not yours. And when their systems fail, and they will, you're unadaptable. So, boys, let production define you. Don't let consumption consume you. This is why they don't pay me anything to do this. So, what should you produce and how should you produce it? Well, I don't know and I don't know. Boys, I can't tell you about you, I can only tell you about me. But I can say you probably have some talent or interest worth cultivating. You probably also have talents and interests not worth cultivating. How to choose? How to choose? Boys, in my case, I had two primary penchants. Writing and storytelling on one side, and map making and game mode designing on the other. Storytelling predated both writing and game, boys, but style possessed me, which is why I wear the same pants every day. And I'd imagine a scene, then style the scene using Far Cry. Far Cry more for maps, Halo more for game modes, because Far Cry let you really chase style. You couldn't do much with Halo. I mean, Reach let you do a little more in map making, but Far Cry and Far Cry 2 let you chase aesthetics. Really style a map or a scene the way you wanted it. But then in Halo, particularly 3 and Reach, I'd make game modes around those scenes. So you'd have, or I'd have, maps in Far Cry and Far Cry 2 that looked the way I wanted this scene, and we would just run around and shoot each other in there. Then in Halo, we would play the game modes that embodied that scene's feeling. For example, I used to be in the Boy Scouts when I was a little tyke, and I was fucking obsessed with survival stories. And post-apocalypse too, but this was, you know, when post-apocalypse was the thing, so that was the thing. And in my head, the idea was this partner team crash lands in this watery, bombed out, dead city, and one of them is a hardcore, serious sniper, and the other one is a close quarters combat specialist with a shotgun. But they aren't alone. Through the flooded channels and inside dead buildings, hunters pursued them, and they had to work together to get out alive, because the sniper, who was defined by his sniper because he had no other character traits, you see. It's the thing he carried, his weapon, not him who was him. He could only kill people from long range, and the shotgun guy, he could kill people from close range, but he couldn't kill people from long range, so they had to work together. The sniper had to help the shotgun guy, and the shotgun guy had to help the sniper guy get through these different situations and survive. So in Far Cry 2, I just did that, to the best of my ability. I raised the water level, I put trees everywhere, and I put these big buildings. Far Cry 2 is so fucking autistic. You could make doors with church windows, and there were no skyscrapers, but you could technically make skyscrapers by stacking things. So I did that, and it was just this watery, rainy city that looked nothing really like a city and wasn't as big as a city. But when you're a younger lad, that's the coolest shit. Seeing your image realized. So then in Halo and Reach, the valley in Halo World, I put a giant wall on the side, and you could get around. There was a secret route to get up onto the wall to snipe if you wanted. There were a bunch of little things, but anyways, there were probably 7 sections with these sniper towers dotted between. So then you'd have multiple teams of 2 playing. Each team had one sniper who carried a sniper and no secondary, and sprint as their armor ability. Then they'd have a close quarters combat specialist with a shotgun, and I think it was either an assault rifle or a handgun. I might have changed it to assault rifle so that the boys couldn't get headshots, but they definitely had the bubble shield armor ability. And the idea was, it's easy to feel scared when you're enclosed. It's harder to fear. This is the 3rd time I've done this. It's harder to feel scared when you're not constricted. But I wanted them to feel constricted gameplay-wise. Like, you look out across a big city, and oh my god, there's nobody out there, but someone's out there and they're gonna kill me. And they have a gun that can kill me from very far away. But I have a gun that can kill them from very far away. Oh, but what if I run into someone up close? But then if you're that up close guy, oh man, I can kill someone up close, but what about very far away? So you have to work together, and then the close quarters guy can shield the other people from the long range shots, and then the sniper could do the snipers, and then there was this big skill test tower jumping puzzle in the center. It was surrounded by walls, so you could go in and try it, but it took time. So if you went in there, you had to have someone guarding you, or you had to be really sneaky about it, because if someone caught you, they'd kill you. And then there were also, in the 7 sections, there were also power weapons that spawned occasionally but gave big advantages. But if you tried to just run in there and take them alone, then you'd die because everyone is watching the snipers. So yeah, the matches were very slow, very calculated, very methodical, and very quiet, which was weird for Halo, and I liked it a whole lot. It also actualized my image. Not aesthetically, but mechanically. The atmosphere I wanted to capture. And accompanying both these and the imaginary scene, I'd have a little story scribbled out. This is before I could really write, so it was god-awful. This is when I was on DeviantArt writing stories about Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog, you understand. And this continued through high school's end. I mean, multiplayer games became single-player games as I lost friends, building settlements in Fallout 4 and dressing people up and naming them. And writing, that stopped. Shame stopped me, thank God. But it became aggressive imagination. Aggressively imagining stories. And I was faced with a choice, boys. 18 years, never really a human being, never really doing anything. Always on the precipice, never in the action. What are you gonna do? You have a penchant. You want to tell stories. Do you want to develop your imagination and writing? Or your half-baked game design consumption thing? Obviously I went for the former, because 3 years for 5 likes and a few book downloads means more to me than 3 years for maybe 1 like on the Ubisoft Far Cry map installation application. Or the nothing I'd get developing a shitty RPG Maker game or side-scroller or whatever my limited talents allowed. Turning on a Word document or opening a microphone suits my imagination better, my talents better, than game development. It's already gone better. Creating stories, I can think something up and write it down quickly and well. And I can go with my fancies, or I can stick to something. I can write a short story, or I can write a novel. Or I can even use my nauseating voice and make a video for you. And through work and production, I've developed both to the point they stand on their own, they're regarded. Maybe not as well as I'd like, or as good as I could make them, but they're existing. The mech is functioning, boys. The self is there. It's happening. And that's what I'd recommend to you. How do you create or cultivate yourself? Do something. Make something. Put something out there. Don't just consume. And what thing should you do? What should you produce? I don't know, but you probably do. You probably have a few talents you could cultivate. You could make something with. Turn into your producer boys. Pick the best one. Don't pick the one that'll drive you into a hole and obscurity and misery in 5 years. Pick the one that might get you somewhere. Even if it doesn't get you anywhere, you can still at least hope. 3 likes on YouTube ain't bad. 1 book download ain't the worst. It ain't the worst, boys. It's better than... Producing your way up is better than consuming or producing your way down. Okay, boys, now you have a self. You've produced things with the skill you developed. You're proud of it. People regard it. And it functions. So, do you now take this robot and be yourself? Go out and fight the world. No, don't do that. Jesus Christ, don't do that. Take your robot outside. Throw a tarp over it. Tie it down so the tarp doesn't blow away and the sun bakes it because you worked really hard on it. You really like it. You need to protect it. Get in your Ford Taurus and take that wherever you're going. Yourself is special. It's how you interface with God. It's how you make deep, important connections. It's how you do anything meaningful. And if you take it somewhere selfless people congregate, they'll separate you from yourself. Because having a self, having a skill, having a connection with anything higher, doing anything meaningful is bad. They don't want you doing that. I don't know if it's just because they're selfishly retarded or they're just intolerant. Despite being the aggressively tolerant ones, they want you to walk and talk like them. More, they want you to think like them. Genuinely think like them. And if you can't do that, you're in for problems. You're in for trouble. My last video was complete insanity. That's the picture of someone trying to interface with people who don't want to be interfaced with and couldn't be interfaced with if they wanted to be interfaced with. I showed up, they said, be yourself. I took out my fucking robot. They said, actually, we don't do that here. Get rid of it. Completely rid of it. Or we're killing you. And I was really freaking out. Because I'm not just proud of this self. These skills. That talented people helped me cultivate. And great people like you, boys, enjoy. Or maybe don't enjoy. I don't fucking know. What do you people... And I was saying, you know, this robot, if I throw my soul away, nothing I produce will hold any value. Nothing I do will matter. And if I'm not doing something that matters, why am I doing it? And I tried to demonstrate this. I tried to explain it to them, to relate with them. I wrote fucking 4-page letters to these people, trying to connect with them on some level. I didn't send them. Thank God. Thank God. And that would have been the exact ammunition they needed. Hey, this guy has a soul. Fucking spear him. But then I realized, not everyone wants meaning. Not everyone wants production. Not everyone wants, what's the word, 2D anime god. Not everyone wants that, boys. Not everyone wants a soul. And in these situations, you shouldn't just not be yourself. You're allowed not to be yourself. Hearts don't thrive here, so you don't have to feel bad about not putting yours in. It's okay. And more importantly, you don't have to get rid of it. That's the other thing. You don't have to put your heart in. You can reserve it for things that do matter. You can reserve yourself, should reserve yourself, for meaningful endeavors. You don't have to throw your heart away. You don't have to put your heart in. You don't even have to do good, hard, meaningful work. These people are soul holes. Just get in your Ford Taurus, jump their hoops, and save your robot for the extra-dimensional horrors that really matter. So, recap. Boys, if you have no self, or your self is underdeveloped, do something. Produce something. Only consuming or producing badly will only narrow and doom you. And remember, boys, consuming is okay, but being a nester is not. And part 2, once you have a self, you shouldn't always be yourself. It's not safe. And furthermore, it's okay to not be yourself, to not have your heart in it, to not give your all. Just survive. But preserve yourself, your soul, your heart, for where it matters, for what matters. Use it there. In my case, that's talking about this with you, boys, and not anything else with anyone else. Get a self, and know when, where, why, and for what and whom you'll use it. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, as I certainly enjoyed making it. We're going a little less insane now. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. Do you have a self? When do you use it? Boys, what is your self? What do you do? What skill did you cultivate, or are you cultivating? Or do you just consume and repeat? Let me know. I'm interested. But thanks again for watching the video. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact, I'm out of OxyClean. We can fill that up with fun, and it'll be soapy, a soapy fun. I'm looking for some soapy fun, boys. And that's how much fun we have on this channel. Boys, and I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.